This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top vertically integrated medical and wellness cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. You can learn more about Curaleaf over at curaleaf.com with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 918 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Today's top stories is the rare headline these days that does not concern the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Instead, we have a just-issued report by the American Civil Liberties Union showing that even though marijuana is increasingly being legalized across the United States, racial disparities are still seen everywhere in terms of who is being arrested for cannabis crimes. As I hope you are not surprised to hear, non-white people who are stopped by police face a far higher possibility of being arrested for marijuana by rates more than 3 times higher, even in some legal states. That speaks to the deep entrenchment of racism in general in our criminal justice system and remains one of our industry's most vexing challenges, and one that we must solve. Open this one up and read the ACLU's report in full. Share it and talk about it. We jump now to Mexico, where late last week, the nation's Supreme Court approved a request to push back a deadline by which federal lawmakers are to legalize adult use marijuana. Longtime listeners will remember that this deadline has been kicked around before, as it originally was to land last year. But due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, a group of Mexican senators requested to the Supreme Court that the action be held until the end of this year. As it stands now, Mexico will have legal adult use marijuana on its books by December 15th, assuming nothing terrible happens again between now and then. So, who knows? Another story breaking late last week has us up in Alaska, where on Friday, the Alaskan Marijuana Control Board voted 3-2 in favor of allowing marijuana dispensaries to sell via curbside pickup, and 4-1 on a proposal to ease transportation rules for legal shops governing how they move marijuana around the state. The emergency measures, which obviously came as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, have a built-in life of 120 days, after which they can be extended if needed. Cannabis dispensaries hoping to offer curbside pickup just need to make sure they have video surveillance covering their curbs and that they maintain proper ID checks. The move to allow easier marijuana sales comes on the heel of similar moves in the state on how alcohol is sold. These measures are obviously important for the current times, but I think it's going to be hard whenever we claw our way out of this disaster to put the toothpaste back in the tube, so to speak, on delivery and curbside pickup. So count this as the smallest sliver of silver lining, like just the teeniest tiny bit. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. Curaleaf has thankfully been designated a necessary service in all the states it's active in, which you can learn more about over at curaleaf.com, where the company has a full page set up for all the steps being taken to respond to the coronavirus pandemic, as well as a state-by-state listing of shop-specific information. And while you're over there, you should take some time to read more about the Veterans Cannabis Project, which Curaleaf supports with in-store displays, as well as specially packaged pre-rolls available in select shops where part of each purchase goes directly to supporting the Veterans Cannabis Project's work to expand medical cannabis access by military veteran patients. That very worthy organization can be found over at vetscp.org. That's vetscp.org. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for the support that helps us keep our news lights on. All right, time for the Blitz. A lawsuit has been filed in Los Angeles, California, seeking to overturn the results of the city's social equity program licensing round held last year by the LA Department of Cannabis Regulations. The suit accuses city officials of holding a flawed licensing process marred by the early access some applicants had to the online application website and seeks a judicial review of all 802 applicants, as well as a new licensing round that would replace last year's results. Jumping up to the other side of the U.S. from Mexico, we have a story out of Canada as the province of Quebec reported seeing legal marijuana revenues of $90 million U.S. for the October through December reporting period, bringing its three-quarter total up to around $155 million and putting it on track for a full year haul of around $215 million, again in U.S. dollars. Those sales are those that flowed through Quebec's government-owned shops, which, at least before the pandemic hit, sold via both storefront and delivery. Swing over to Marijuana Business Daily for more numbers and details here. Alan Brockstein over New Cannabis Ventures has a helpful piece up diving into some of the numbers out of legal marijuana companies that are publicly traded stocks. If you're not familiar with Alan's work, you should be, as he covers the numbers and details on legal cannabis stocks like no one else. This is a story that I would recommend you diving into fully yourself. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Kyle Yeager over Marijuana Moment has his first of two stories on the day as he first picked up on a Democratic candidate for Congress in Oregon who is fully embracing marijuana culture as part of her campaign operation. Democratic candidate Amanda Sieb not only posts regular photos of her smoking marijuana on social media, but also does the same for her small home grow operation. I don't know much about her politics, but I do appreciate her normalization of cannabis. So keep that up. Pop over to Marijuana Moments to learn more. With the second headline on today's list, Kyle highlights comments made late last week by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders about the issues that he is pressing former Vice President and current Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden to focus on in his administration, should he be elected president in November. Senator Sanders endorsed Biden last week after a long campaign and was asked about the policy proposals he spoke to Biden about, notably leaving off marijuana legalization. Vice President Biden was a strident drug warrior as a senator and designed many of the worst policies of the federal war on drugs and marijuana back in the 1980s and 90s. Swing over to Kyle's story on this for more and to see video of Senator Sanders speaking. The Oregon Liquor Control Commission said legal marijuana sales in that state jumped 30% in March, driven by consumers stocking up on cannabis ahead of pandemic closings, only to fall rather sharply as those closings set in. This is a storyline I think we'll see in other states and is one you should be keeping an eye on. Our final story on the day is an interesting look at how worldwide coronavirus pandemic closings are affecting the illicit drug trade, as cartels are having a lot of trouble moving huge shipments of drugs around the world without the benefit of the societal background noise that enabled them to hide their trade. There's also the extra logistical challenges of moving things around in a world where motels, bars, restaurants, and nightclubs are all closed. That is leading to constrained supplies of illegal drugs, driving up prices as the laws of economics dictate they do. Give this one a read. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Curaleaf, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says, Become a Patron. Become a patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.